Food has always been incredibly important to me, and growing up both my parents were amazing cooks, so eating a meal together was how we spent time together as a family. I don't think there would be a single Sunday going by without us eating a roast together. We're trying to continue this tradition with our own children as well, so we all sit down as a family and have a meal together at least once a day. My general rule of thumb is to avoid processed foods as much as possible, and so I just make everything from scratch, stock, sauces, everything, and that way we know exactly what we're eating. Finding good ingredients is a real source of inspiration for me. I love going to the market in Morzine and chatting to the vendors there about where their produce has come from, and also about what makes it special. It's really important to me to know where my food comes from and that it's been produced ethically, so I make time to meet all my suppliers and talk to them personally. Both at home and for the chalet menu, we buy free-range meat that's as local as possible, and our guests know that they're eating meat that's been reared in France and to the highest possible standards of animal welfare. I love this time of year when I can start thinking about the new menu for the season, and I can look around at the mountains and in people's gardens to see what's growing. So we've got pumpkins and apples and nuts and wild mushrooms all around at the moment. I freeze plums and use local apples to make chutney so that through the winter I can give people a taste of what grows here. Through the weekly menu, I like to take the guests on a bit of a journey. I usually start with some traditional French dishes, maybe some local fish or a beef bourguignon, and then I'll mix things up a little bit by introducing some Asian spice and some more bright citrus flavours. And then I might go back to some other European dishes. I particularly love Italian food, and whenever possible we'll try and introduce some of the woody flavours of wild boar and mushrooms and truffles that you might find in Tuscany or Umbria. At the end of the week I'll finish with some French flavours, and my menu today references some traditional Savoyard dishes using potatoes, cheese and ceps, but presented in a more refined and modern way.
I think the best thing about a chalet holiday is just getting looked after from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. You've been out on the mountain for a hard day skiing and you're quite tired by the end of it, but someone comes and picks you up, brings you home, gives you afternoon tea and cake, and from then on in, the hardest decision you have to make is which wine you want to drink.
Food should never be predictable, and so I always try to push the boundaries a little bit. My reblochon ice cream, for example, which is part of one of the starters, it can be quite challenging and it's got an unusual flavour, so it does divide opinion a little bit, but people are always excited to try it and it always sparks conversation around the dinner table. This season, in our new chalet, The View, I'm going to be back in the kitchen once a week and cooking a 6-course taster menu. I can't wait to do this, as it means I can take some more risks than is possible when cooking for a bigger group, and hopefully it should be a really fun and indulgent evening.